Welcome to the cafe. Today I will be reading an excerpt from the web novel, not yet completed, My Sister is the Protagonist. Chapter 1. It could have just broken my nose. How did it come to this? After another day that had already begun to blend in with the rest, Note had spent the day scrolling through job listings and denial letters. As he lay sprawled out on his bed, he pulled out his phone, clicking on an open tab. Reading 1 or 2 chapters before bed was a nightly routine, even though one chapter often became 10. The latest web novel Note had discovered was called Many Blossoms, a low-stakes reverse harem story taking place in the classic fantastical world of heroes and magic. Note considered this kind of story a guilty pleasure. As his mind dove back into the current misadventure of the main character, Lise, and her gang of love interests and friends, Note wasn't anywhere near finishing this story, but could already tell which of the male leads was likely going to win in the end. A typical story. No unexpected twist was likely. Note had a knack for predicting outcomes, and his eyes began to grow heavy. He was just doing his best to make it to the end of the chapter, eyes falling shut. His phone slipped from his grip and dove for his face. He braced for the weight of the phone to come crashing down onto his glasses. The pain didn't come. But opening his eyes didn't seem an easy task either. When did I fall asleep? My phone couldn't have knocked me unconscious, right? Roughly rubbing at my eyes, I could feel the traces of sleep still weighing my eyelids down. Where did my glasses fall? I hope I hadn't rolled onto them yet again. Eyes still unwilling to open, I feel around for my frames blindly. The sudden feeling of something solid. Ah, there you are. Wait. Why does it feel like my glasses just shuffled away from me? I finally force my eyes open. Oh, it's not my glasses. It's a bird's claw I've grabbed. Hmm? Hmm? Why? Is there a bird on my bed? I sit up quickly, blinking rapidly. The bird doesn't seem too fazed. It only seems offended at me for grabbing it. Uh, Apologies for that. I hope I didn't scare you. The bird looks stern. But why am I apologizing to it exactly? My brain still isn't fully loaded yet. This can't be a hawk, right? It sure looks like one. Pretty brown feathers, sharp talons, and beak. It's still just looking at me. Could it be an escaped pet that got in through a window? It might be my sleep-addled brain, but I wonder if it would let me pet it. Its feathers seem so soft. Uh, um, Here, pretty bird. You're too smart to be scared by me, right? Want a little scritch? You're such a beautiful baby. Yes, you are. It looks at my hands as I motion for it, before letting out a shrill shriek. My heart, it could have stopped from that so early in the morning. Cruel, pretty bird. The hawk seems content at how high I jump as it shouts and hops onto the bed frame, looking pleased. Wait, last I checked, my bed doesn't have a frame. Also, Since when was I able to see to the end of my bed so clearly without my glasses on? As I look around, the room is an unfamiliar one. I don't have much more time to think before a door bursts open and an older woman comes rushing in. She looks relieved as she sees me. "Oh, dear, thank the heavens! You're finally awake. Your poor sister will be so relieved to see you with some color in your cheeks again, lad." The older woman seems to hover at the bedside, too excited to decide exactly what to do. After swaying in place for a moment, she seems to make up her mind and rushes out of the room again. Me and the bird watch her go. "It isn't any chance you know where I am, is there, sweet birdie?" The hawk twists its head back to me, seeming almost surprised as its head tilts. It suddenly hops back on the bed, doing its weird bird walk right up to me. The woman didn't seem fazed by its presence, so I try not to flinch as it steps onto my legs. Its sharp talons lightly dig into the sheets as it stares daggers at me. I can't help the nervous sweat I feel forming. "Please don't try and eat me." Is that stupid to say? The woman comes bustling back into the room, a tray in her hands. She doesn't seem concerned by my being in a one-sided standoff with a bird of prey. As she places the tray on the table, picking up a rolled piece of parchment, finally looking my way properly, she takes in the scene with a chuckle. "I've written something for the young miss, so she can stop worrying. This fella has been waiting to have something positive to deliver for a week," she says while gesturing to the bird. At the mention of a delivery, the hawk finally turns away from me, jumping to the end of the bed, its leg out. The woman hesitantly secures the note to the string already around the bird's leg. She barely makes room before the bird leaps into the air and out the open window. She lets out a relieved sigh. "Having a Willow Division messenger bird waiting around my house has been an experience, I'll tell you, lad. Now have a sip of broth so you can start building up your strength. Poor boy. Been twisted up in this bed with fever so long, I was afraid you wouldn't ever wake." The warm bowl she gently places in my hands seems to trigger my stomach as it growls loudly. She smiles and chuckles as I try to take small sips and not swallow the broth down all at once. It really does feel like I haven't eaten in days, but I had a snack right before bed. How can I be this hungry? "Slow down, lad. You have more in the pot. Your sister won't be able to send for you for a day or two. There's no rush now." The woman might be saying that, but she seems more than happy to watch me eat and drink in my rush. Do I ask her outright what's going on? Her clothes look more like I caught her on the way to the Ren Fair. The room seems basic enough. A rustic feel, decorated with sewn wall tapestries and dried plants. She sits at the small floor-level table, watching me as she absent-mindedly fusses with things on the messy table. What looks like clay vials have been knocked over, and very old, traditional-looking medicine pills seem to have spilled onto the surface in her rush to bring the tray in. If this is a dream, it's the most vivid one I think I've ever had. But if it was a dream, I would have gotten to pet the hawk. Yeah, for sure. I try to will myself awake, but it doesn't feel like I'm dreaming. I finish the meal and resist licking the bowl. The woman gets up, trading the bowl for a small cup and a pill. "Now that you're awake, lad, you can take one of these. Your sister really managed to find some high quality medicine for you. Such a great little sister, you better take good care of her. She was willing to rush all off on her own to find the nearest doctor. A few towns over, mind you. All for your sake. She could barely get out the door with you clinging to her, delirious as you were. The pill seems too large to swallow, but it goes down with surprising ease. The woman is beginning to tidy up the table now, preparing to take the dishes. I hope if I take my time drinking, she'll just continue talking. I can't tell if she's someone I'm supposed to know. Has my nightmare of showing up to a play I forgot I was in come to pass? The woman continues on, and I do my best to tune back in. And that's where I'll stop reading this excerpt of chapter 1. The door is always open.